Hello, olá a todos, sejam bem-vindos aqui a mais um dia de falas do evento Zonas de Compensação 9.0. Hoje nós estamos aqui com a artista Beata Kurkul. Beata é uma artista militar que desenha os militares ucranianos desde 2014. A maioria das obras de arte desse período foi dedicada aos guardas da fronteira ucranianos. Durante esses anos, ela visitou muitos destacamentos de guardas da fronteira, bem como zonas de guerra com exposições. Beata tem vários prêmios atribuídos pelo Serviço de Guardas de Fronteira do Estado da Ucrânia. Cidadã da Lituânia, atualmente morando na Ucrânia, em Kiev, Beata trabalha como diretora de arte de um estúdio de desenvolvimento de jogos. Com o início da invasão russa, ela preferiu ficar na Ucrânia com o marido e ajudar os amigos ucranianos. Ela continua a trabalhar tanto como desenvolvedora de jogos, quanto como artista militar, usando a inteligência artificial como ferramenta para criar novas obras de arte em conjunto com outras técnicas de arte tradicional e digital. Agora eu vou repetir a introdução em inglês. Beata is a military artist who has been drawing Ukrainian military since 2014. Most of the artworks from this period were dedicated to Ukrainian border guards. During those years, she visited many border guards detachments as well as those in the war zone with exhibitions. Beata has several awards from the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine. A citizen of Lithuania, currently living in Ukraine, in Kiev, Beata works as an art director in a game development studio. With the beginning of the Russian invasion, she preferred to stay in Ukraine with her husband and help Ukrainian friends. She is now continuing to work in both game development and as a military artist, using artificial intelligence as a tool for creating new artworks together with other traditional and digital art techniques. Então, nessa palestra, a artista ucraniana Beata Kurkul relata como criou a obra Sunflowers of Ukraine 2, criada com a ajuda da AI MidJourney, usando um prompt de texto bastante simples. Artilharia ucraniana num campo de girassóis. Os girassóis são uma das flores mais populares na Ucrânia. É uma evocação da vida, luz solar e calor. É um símbolo do massacre de Ilovaisk e uma lembrança das vítimas do voo MH17 da Malaysia Airlines na história moderna. In this talk, Ukrainian artist Beata Kurkul tells how she created the work Sunflowers of Ukraine 2, created with the help of the artificial intelligence MidJourney, using a very simple text prompt: Ukrainian artillery in a field of sunflowers. Sunflowers are one of the most popular flowers in Ukraine. It's an evocation of life, sunlight, and heat. It's a symbol of the Ilovaisk massacre and a reminder of the victims of the Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 in modern history. So, Beata, welcome. And now I will give the word to you so you can give your talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. A very nice introduction. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I hope everybody is in a good mood and nothing will spoil it in the future. Well, as Rodrigo said, I am an art director in game development studio, and also my another job and maybe rather hobby is I am a military artist. Of course, I draw military equipment, but I focus not so much on technical details, also although they are also important, but on storytelling and emotions by combining military elements with the sky and clouds. Actually, the sky plays a very important role in a lot of my artworks. setting the mood for the whole work and being a supporting narrative and compositional element. Today I want to introduce you one of my work from this year, which was made in a different way with the help of neural network, artificial intelligence, MidJourney. And this artwork put a beginning to the whole series, which I named The Sunflowers of Ukraine. So let me share my screen. So here it is. Almost everything here is created by MidJourney, though I put here last final strokes, but I'll tell everything according to the age. Well, how I start to work with MidJourney. Actually, when first neural networks appeared, I thought that it's a great opportunity for developing the direction I was interested in. I mean, military action, military art. MidJourney is one of many neural networks, a so-called proprietary artificial intelligence program that creates images from text descriptions. We call it text prompts. This artificial intelligence similar to OpenAI, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion. The tool is currently in open beta, which was entered on July 12th of this year. And the team is led by David Halls. Man, thank you very much, because you really helped me a lot. First experiments with MidJourney indicated that such neural networks are some kind of, Alibaba treasure cave for artists, designers, jewelers, fashions, etc. By the way, MidJourney team recently introduced a new update of their network, and my colleagues and I have been working under the impression for maybe several days. Well, let me show you some examples. Okay, here another part. This one, some kind of paper cut sculpture. Oh, sorry, this one. Okay, this is the last generation of MidJourney. Well, I would like to highlight a few points why MidJourney is cool. First, MidJourney and the other neural network. First, it speeds up the process of searching for a vision, the very first visualization, and speeding up the concept stage. We set a text prompt and get options for visualizing this query. Let me show you. Okay. Here is the first so-called sketches what I got from MidJourney when I entered my text prompt. Actually, it was quite simple. I wrote Ukrainian artillery in the field of sunflowers, and since I added clouds. So this was the first stage, what MidJourney presented to me. 4 sketches. Then I chose one of them to further work. I chose this one because I saw a lot of potential in it. I see this sketch and I understand that there is a story in it. Well, second, those quite abstract and surreal images by MidJourney stimulates imagination. The neural network, depending on the text prompt, generates as you see, quite abstract, incomplete, and even surreal images, which are excellent material for improving your initial visual story. Because when you write a text prompt, you already think about some vision, some images, what you want to get from the, in my case, from MidJourney. But when you get such sketches, well, your initial story can be changed, or it can get new elements. Well, in this case of my work, I clearly indicated artillery in the prompt, so I got something like that. Okay, it's maybe artillery, but this shape can be also interpreted not as a war machine, but as a machine from a completely different industry, a harvester combine, for example. And if we take this interpretation, my story changes completely. The third point of MidJourney technical is the generation of entire fragments for an artwork, and a result, the acceleration of the entire process of creating work. Of course, when you work for your own, you can draw as long as you can. But if you have a lot of jobs, or you have some commissions, the time is very important. So you are looking for various variants how to speed up your work process. So MidJourney can help you in this thing. For example, recently I needed an ornament of sunflowers for one sketch. I generated a dose of ornaments. Here is another slide. Oh, here. You see, this part is generated by MidJourney, and I took one of these ornaments and put in my sketch, which I draw by hand. So it's pen, ink, and some water-soluble graphite. Fourth point, this medium is available to various people, even if they aren't artists. I think it's great because many people dream to visualize their thoughts, concerns, maybe them, some visions, but they're bad in drawing. For example, writers and poets better knows how to describe their visions using words, but not in illustration. Well, I will omit the point that almost anyone can learn to draw, and the ability to see interesting and beautiful things in our ordinary life actually can be developed. But I do not think that the ability to draw, to create beautiful pictures is a lot of the elite. On the contrary, the more people feel the joy of creativity, is the better for our world. On my Facebook, I often see how poets and writers are starting to use neural network, mainly MidJourney. Seems in Ukraine segment of Facebook, it's the most popular artificial intelligence network. Well, they create their own illustrations for their poems, their stories. Designers use MidJourney to illustrate news. Even I saw maybe several housewives who used MidJourney to create patterns for the jewelry. They work with plastic or something like that. Also, MidJourney is a good thing for art therapy. Myself, I prefer to use drawing with traditional techniques as an anti-stress, but I want to note that creativity with the help of neural networks also has certain therapeutic effects. And I know maybe several cases when my friends, military soldiers, began to create something with MidJourney, and then they wrote to me telling, that's amazing. And I see, they say, I became more calmer, and I get use of my stress. I get off my stress. At the very beginning of MidJourney accent, maybe a message appeared in the main Facebook group of MidJourney. The female illustrator, was in a state of creative crisis and burnout, which was exaggerated by life, some unpleasant things in life. And creative crisis and burnout is really terrible things for artists, especially if this is your life, this is your main job, earnings, and the center of your wealth. And this woman wrote that she's happy because the MidJourney gave her the opportunity to plunge into creativity again, to feel the joy of creating something new, to see the visualization of your ideas. So I do hope psychologists will use neural networks in their art therapy sessions. For example, in Ukraine, where I have been living since 28th, art therapy has become very popular in the last few years, and its popularity will only grow. And I hope that this direction using of MidJourney will not only stabilize psyche of people, but also in the future will reduce the number of suicides among both civilians and military. Well, returning to my own artwork, yes, here is. Well, it was actually just an experiment which I posted in my Facebook. This was the very beginning of MidJourney in the internet. And actually, I was amazed when a few days later, all these my arts were reposted by the official Facebook account of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and other officials. I was afraid that tomatoes would fly at me, since such depiction of war and the army was quite normal among digital artists and artists at all, but could shock non-artists. But people really liked this relatively fresh vision. Well, as you know, Ukraine is at a hard, full-scale war with Russia since, actually since 2014, and a full-scale invasion began in February 24th. So at that day, life of us forever was changed. Since that morning, when most of us were woken up by artillery sounds. From that moment, every of us are engaged in this war. Artists didn't stay aside too, and a huge amount of graphic content was produced from the beginning of invasion. And artificial intelligence, MidJourney, DALL-E, and other gave us new abilities and tools. Actually, they opened for us a new dimension for creativity. As I said, this artwork was created with MidJourney for quite simple text prompt. You saw first sketches. Actually, after that, I made maybe 2 or 3 iterations. Well, I asked MidJourney to make several variations, and I chose one of them. And another command was to make more detailed image of this. Actually, today, MidJourney has much more functions when it was then when I created this image. Post-production, this image was made in Adobe Photoshop. I mean, size and DPI upscaling, and there I used Photoshop artificial intelligence. They have the one for better details conservations. Also, I correct brightness, contrast, and vibrance of this. Well, and actually, talking about the story of this image, as I said, I got a piece of art which is actually 2 arts in one. Furthermore, they are on opposite points of the scale. Another part of the scale is about peace, and the second one is about war. The peaceful part depicts a combined harvester in or near sunflower fields under blue sky and clouds. And here some surreal element. Several sunflowers grow into the very sky, reaching the sun. It's also very symbolical thing. The second interpretation is a really common scenery of Ukrainian landscapes in war zones for spring, summer, and a part of autumn. Artillery in a field of sunflowers. This is really quite common for us in nowadays. Well, MidJourney created actually in an interesting vision of sunflowers. From a botanical point of view, it's hardly to say that these are sunflowers, though we have here this dark thing, we have yellow around it. But when I said to my auditory in Facebook, these are sunflowers, everybody agreed, yeah, these are sunflowers. Sunflower is the most popular flower in Ukraine and inherent part of the Ukrainian landscape. Actually, the very essence of life with sun, life under sunlight, the joy and warmth. As Rodrigo already said, sunflower is a symbol of Ilovaisk massacre, when Ukrainian forces were almost destroyed in so-called humanitarian corridor near Ilovaisk, despite all agreements with Russians and pro-Russian separatists in 2014. Sunflower is also a somber symbol of remembrance of MH17 victims. Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 was shot down out of the sky by the pro-Russian separatists over eastern Ukraine on July 17th, 2014. Nobody survived. Some of my audience interpreted these artificial intelligence sunflowers as explosion. This is really interesting notice, and I have to admit that some types of explosions really looks like a flower. Not exactly some sunflower. Well, this depends on person's imagination, but let it be sunflowers. So we return to this shape. It also can be interpreted both as a war machine, well, here maybe some cannon, etc., and also as a civil vehicle combined harvest. It's actually a reality of Ukraine nowadays, because farmers now gather a harvest wearing body armor if they work near a war zone or even in it. And there are often military near them to protect them. Here I show you some. Well, this is our reality now. Farmers, and they wear some kind of body armor because it's quite dangerous. But these strong people say we have to collect our harvest. Here is one, and here is another one. Yeah. So this work can have several interpretations. War machine in a field of sunflowers, and here we can these elements interpreted like soldiers. Over in a sky explosions. Or another peaceful thing is a harvester against the background of sunflowers explosions, realities of peaceful life. Oh, well, actually, it's quite simple artwork, but as you can, we can tell a lot of stories, and I love MidJourney just because its images generated by it can provide a story, and people love to hear a story, and people will remember those images which tell a story to them. However, the using of the appearance of MidJourney and other neural network has also a so-called dark side. We're faced with fears, aggression, even depreciation of our work results with a neural network. I heard also accusations of unethical and even plagiarism. Well, fears are primitive and old. This is a typical fear of everything new and incomprehensive, as well as a fear of computers, the internet, and artificial intelligence, nourished and nurtured actually by numerous science fiction writers. Since the neural network, artificial intelligence, learns constantly, or rather, it is being trained, one of the first voiced fears was that artificial intelligence would gradually replace artists. Artists would be left without work. And the loudest of all this fear sounded actually from the artists themselves. There were a lot of discussions, that there were a lot of conflicts. And many were not embarrassed by the reminder that almost the same arguments were voiced at the dawn of digital art. Well, I'm quite old, and I have to say, I remember how digital art appeared and how it became worldwide. Well, but at the same time, a traditional art continues to live and feels great and coexist quite harmoniously with digital art. Also, the generation of fears is facilitated by a misunderstanding of what a neutral network, artificial intelligence, is. People imagine some kind of synthetic proto-intelligence which we trained and with on our own head, and people consider the neutral network to be reasonable. Became independent, and actually this intelligence will need no people at all. Fear often breeds aggression. We hear arguments that our artworks generated by artificial intelligence are dead. This is not art, surrogate, consumer goods, and so on. Of course, since the creation of art using artificial intelligence became massive, we can't talk about any kind of exclusivity, I think, at least not yet. But the argument that paintings are dead disproves actually the emotions they evoke, and they evoke really a lot of emotions. After posted the first wax on Facebook, I learned about the existence of the uncanny valley effect, which explains why some people are delighted with the work by artificial intelligence, while others find them disgusting. Actually, the uncanny valley is a hypothesized relation between an object's degree of resemblance to a human being and the emotional response to the object. The concept, which was formulated by a Japanese robotics professor, Masahiro Mori, in 1917, that humanoid objects that imperfectly resemble actual human beings provoke uncanny or strangely familiar feelings of uneasiness and revulsion in observers. Valley denotes a dip in the human observer's ability affinity for the replica, a relation that otherwise increases with the replica human likenesses. Well, actually, this my artwork isn't so well good actual reference for uncanny valley, though. Here, those lamps, as those shapes, they can be interpreted like a human or something not else, and actually they can be a reason why some people feel uncomfortable watching to them. Actually, this is a very interesting topic. I mean, uncanny valley and how people interpret, how people feel looking at the artificial intelligence images. But actually, this is quite or maybe responsible. I mean that. Though we create these images with artificial intelligence, but final touches are up to us, and only we decide what story will be final in this, what story we will tell the public. In general, I believe that this is a challenge that should cheer us up, and once again remind that we must not stop in our development, but master new means to convey our own visions. It would be erroneous to assume that a neural network would produce the final image. It will, yes, but will it be final or not depends on us. And it is our final strokes that will give these artworks individuality. Like in here in on the example of my own work, I can tell two stories, or about combined harvester in a sunflower field, or I can tell about Artilharia war machine between a sunflower field. The neural network MidJourney doll is a tool, unusual, somewhere wayward, but a tool. And the most important part of any tool is the head of the one who uses it. Well, our head. Actually, we live in great times. It is quite possible that we observe and even take part in the formation of a new art form or even a kind of art, which will be based on a collaboration between living artist and artificial intelligence. The principle of this new kind of art are being born before our very eyes, and they are currently being described and classified. The level of its ethics is determined, and in general, whether it is worthy of becoming a new kind of art. Actually, MidJourney and other artificial intelligence created really nice confusion and turmoil, not only among artists, but also in the realm of lawyers. Now, I already read a lot of stories, posts, analytics. What about copyrights? Because MidJourney and other artificial intelligence uses billions of pictures, visual elements from the internet to create these things. So actually, we could say that it's some kind of collage. And what about copyright? Who can be described as an author? MidJourney or a person who created a text prompt? And what about those which who were the authors of arts which were used here? Actually, all these things are now in progress, in process. There are a lot of discussions, and I think maybe this situation will last maybe for at least a year or not even two. The first rule have already begun to written by the developers themselves. For example, the MidJourney have quite simple copyright politics. Well, and it's quite logical because artificial intelligence arts are not about ethics but also finances. If you check such portals as DeviantArt or Station or Society6, you can find a lot of images which were generated by artificial intelligence, and they are sold. Well, why not? But the level of legitimation is still in questions. Well, these MidJourney and other neural artworks are affected to many other areas: jurisprudence, publishing business, covers, illustrations, the entire media sphere. And I think in the future we will see much more cases of using such arts. For example, just imagine theatrical scenery created with the help of a neural network, costumes in the fashion industry, jewelry. Already now, creatives have generated tons of beautiful images that are just waiting for them to be done alive. Well, I'm not saying it's a magic wand or medicine against a creative crisis. No, it's a tool, like a brush, like paints, pencil, graphic tablet, or colored sand. And this tool is very sensitive to how we use it and what tasks we set for him. MidJourney and others artificial intelligence are constantly improving. I already mentioned that MidJourney team presented us a new update of their program, and it's really great. Actually, I still in learning what they can, and actually I think it's really cool thing. It's nice thing, and let's continue to explore and to create beauty for this. Well, I think that this is all what I wanted to say you. Maybe about final strokes. One another example. Here is image generated by MidJourney. Well, actually, it's a better example of uncanny valley than my previous artworks. Well, something like human-like, some vehicle. Not well. I put some strokes, of course, connected with our Ukrainian realities. I draw a soldier. I draw civilians. I draw a child with a ballpoint. Well, maybe this is it what I wanted to tell you. Actually, working with MidJourney is really simple. Just read a guide. And it's very delightful. So I do advise all you to try at least for one evening, just to try to create something nice, and I am sure you will be amazed of this. Now, thank you very much.
Thank you for the talk, Beata. It was very nice hearing you talk about your process, how you work, and a lot of interesting questions arise from the use of artificial intelligence in art. Let's see if the chat has any questions. Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
You talk about the ethical question, the big question of AI. The machines are trained with images found on the internet. These
Yeah.
images can be from anyone.
Yes.
So the big question is, what about copyright, as you said?
Yes.
But I think that there's a situation where the MidJourney, as an example, uses a lot of illustrations as training base. That what makes the output of the MidJourney so beautiful, but also is
Yes. Yes.
can be a problematic question.
Yes, that's why I insist that our stroke as an artist, we our strokes must be final. We can draw over it. We can interpret, because I saw several situations when somebody created with MidJourney art, and then in comments appeared two more guys and says, "Look, this part is from my artwork." Yes. So
Okay.
so you don't have to rely only on this MidJourney art. Uh, you have to finalize it, and everything
Otherwise.
will be okay.
Ok, I will quickly translate the question and
Okay.
answer. Eu perguntei para a Beata sobre a questão ética, né? Ela falou um pouco na fala dela sobre essa questão que as inteligências artificiais são treinadas em imagens achadas na internet. E essas imagens podem ser de qualquer um, né? E ela complementou um pouco, assim, ela falou que nós podemos sim utilizar, né? O importante é você sempre ter aquele ponto do artista, né? Aquela interação com o resultado, aquela modificação e tá tudo bem, né? A obra vai ser sua, não precisa se cobrar tanto nesse quesito, né? But I will ask another question, continuing on this subject. I think also, if we look in the art history, for example, in the turn of the century, when the photography became more accessible, the technology was invented, people started taking pictures. There's a similar panic. Oh my God, the paintings will have no value because I can take a photo of a scene or a place. So I think it's kind of normal, as you say, the fear of everything, fear of technology. Always
Yes, yes.
happens when something new appears.
Though I really saw quite a lot of aggressions and actually some sites, even for example, maybe deviant art, they still think about, but other similar portals even um, put into their rules that they don't let to download artificial intelligence created images. So really this aggression is, but according to my feelings, it comes to the slow to be lighter, and I think the artist, most of artists. Will use artificial intelligence like a tool, because yes, MidJourney or some other neural network can produce really nice 3D model, maybe 2D image, but it is only image, it's a picture. But for example, you can use this 3D model in other development, for example, talking about game development. Of course not. You can use it only as a concept, and you have to create a 3D model to work with it. So also talking about 2D images, even for printing, we have to work with this image, because taken from the site is not suitable for good printing, so we have to upscale it. Then we see that our textures are maybe some blurred, or so we have to take a stylus, we have to use filters just to make post work so with this image.
Nice. I will translate now the question and answer. Eu comentei com a Beata também, continuando no assunto da ética, né? Sobre como que na história da arte, sempre que aparece uma nova tecnologia, como por exemplo a fotografia, há um certo pânico, né? Agora que tem a fotografia, a pintura já não tem mais utilidade, né? Das pinturas figurativas. E sempre há uma reação do artista, né? E ela comentou que viu bastante, né, comentários negativos em relação à arte gerada por inteligência artificial. Viu alguns sites, algumas comunidades que colocavam avisos, né? Não pode baixar, não se pode colocar imagens feitas com inteligência artificial, né? Então há um certo medo mesmo. Mas ela comentou também que a gente usa como uma ferramenta, né? E ela até falou do exemplo do trabalho dela como desenvolvedora de jogos, que muitas vezes a gente usa ferramentas, né, para criar, por exemplo, uma arte conceitual. Então você poderia talvez criar uma arte conceitual com a inteligência artificial, né, e criar algo novo a partir daquilo, né? Basicamente isso. Agora gostaria de lembrar vocês só, né, a obra da Beata vai estar na Galeria dos Zonas de Compensação, que estreia agora dia 12 na Galeria Olito, tá bom? Todos estão convidados. Vou convidar a Beata também. Beata, just a plug. Your work will be on the Gallery of Zonas de Compensação 9, that will be starting the day 12. And I will send you the link so you can see your work in the gallery. And for people in Brazil, you'll have a physical space where people can put VR goggles and enter the space and see the artworks there. Okay?
Thank you very much.
I think our time... temos mais um tempinho, pessoal? Ou já vamos encerrando? I will asking the organization if you have a little more time, or if we are ending. Okay. Let's see the chat. Temos minuto, Rosângela. Pode perguntar. Estou na guarda dessa pergunta. Rosângela has a question. I'm waiting for her, her collaboration. So, another thing, more, it's a more high level. about the artist's work on the war. In the history of art, we have a lot of artists that worked on front lines, artists that has their entire philosophy of production changed because of this event, because it's a big change in a person's life. You can
Yeah.
change your outlook of your entire life because of these events that happens in your region, country, so on. Do you think the artists of Ukraine will have a different outlook on the production from this point on?
From from smartphone.
No, from a different outlook on the how to produce art after
Mm,
being in a war.
no, actually, Ukraine artists now use all medias they can, from traditional to digital, both MidJourney and other artificial intelligence, uh, because all of us are in different conditions. For example, I am lucky because I am in my house, so we have electricity. Okay, not for every day, but okay, we have electricity. I have my computer, um, so I can work both with traditional media because my house was safe. It wasn't struck by a missile. Thank you to our armed forces. Another artists who had to leave their homes. So sometimes they lost almost everything. But anyways, artist is artist, and the main task for us after the beginning of the invasion was uh, to collect ourselves to begin to create again, to fight with stress in various months, because I have two cases. These are my own colleagues when girls couldn't draw for several months. One of them couldn't draw because all to her hands were some kind of psychological pain. She said me, Beata, I can't draw. I can't hold a stylus. Well, I said to her, well, maybe you draw too lot, so you have or infection or trauma. No, and she went to psychology consultants and began to work with uh, psychologist. And after several weeks, she began to draw again. But Ukrainian artists are very grateful, and they will use and they use all media they can, just to show what happens here, to show what they feel, how they feel this war, because it's also some kind of anti-stress therapy for them. So, and artificial intelligence is also used a lot.
Ok, thank you. I will translate now the question and answer. Eu perguntei para a Beata, né, se falei um pouco, né, da história da arte. Muitos artistas passaram por algum período de guerra que mudou, né, a perspectiva deles e a forma de produzir, né? Paul Klee, Joseph Beuys, né? A gente tem vários exemplos aí. Eu perguntei se ela acha que isso vai acontecer com os artistas da Ucrânia, né? E ela falou que não, porque assim, já tem uma cultura de se trabalhar com todas as mídias na Ucrânia, né? O que é possível vai sendo feito. Acho que se a gente reconhece, né, do Brasil também, a gente vai dando um jeito de fazer, independente do que tem. Mas ela falou que, lógico, né, tem toda a questão psicológica. Citou um exemplo de uma artista, amiga dela, que não estava conseguindo desenhar, não conseguia segurar a caneta, por questões psicológicas mesmo, mas também pensa, né, na arte como até uma coisa de anti-estresse, né, uma certa terapia de arte. Acho que isso responde um pouco à pergunta da Rosângela também, né? Então, muito arte vem sendo usada, né, para realmente passar por esse momento. E também, né, sempre tem aquele período de reflexão, né? Pensar o que eu quero falar, né? Passando por esse momento aqui com o meu povo, com o meu país e tudo mais. Eu acho que a gente já tá dando horário, né? A Beata tem que sair daqui a pouquinho, devido ao racionamento de energia. Então eu vou encerrando aqui, vou passar para o inglês para a gente se despedir. Beata, thank you very much.
Sorry, Rodrigo,
Okay.
I see one more question of Ms. Rosangela.
Rosangela, okay.
Yeah, your choice of images seem to me to bring a more relaxed look at the war. Do you agree with that? Well, maybe, but it is really my choice not to show blood, not to show victims, etc. On the past, I was a nurse. I worked for 7 years in medicine, so I know what is it, blood, burnings, etc. And this was my choice not to show this. That's okay. I know. I just want to to explain why this is. Because I work with military too. I have a lot of friends between soldiers. Several of my close friends are in Russian captivity. They were in Azov Steel factory, and we still have no news from them. So, really, a lot of soldiers, and this was my choice. My arts have to cure. My arts have to improve their humor. Maybe they must be something like a source of clear water, maybe for them, because they saw every day blood, they saw killed persons, they had mud, everything. Well, that's something
okay.
like that.
Now I'm gonna translate the answer. A Beata disse que ela tem treinamento médico, ela já trabalhou como enfermeira, né? Ela conhece esse lado da guerra, ela sabe como é, mas foi uma escolha pessoal mesmo. Ela não quer mostrar esse lado, ela sabe como é, mas não quis mostrar esse lado no trabalho artístico dela, tá? E ela comentou que ela tem contato com muitos soldados, tem amigos soldados. Ela até falou que o grupo de amigos dela estava na fábrica de metal, né, que foi tomada, né, pelos russos, e eles não têm notícias deles, então ela pensa na arte dela como uma coisa mais para relaxar mesmo, para a pessoa, né, tirar a cabeça desse lado da guerra, né, esse lado mais trágico, assim, que acho que a gente acaba pensando nisso quando pensa em guerra, né, mas é basicamente isso, tá? Beata, now, thank you very much. Everybody here in the production is send you big hugs and good energies to you. Hoping everything will went well for you and your family, friends, everybody affected. And we liked very much your talk. And I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think I have to improve my English, and next time to talk more about
Okay.
this.
I understand you. You understand me. It's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay. We can communicate even from different places, different countries. But thank you very much. Now
Thank
you're
you very
gonna
much, everybody, for your attention, and have a good day. Be careful, and best wishes to all of you from Ukraine.
Thank you. Ela agradece o carinho, manda um abraço para todos e até a próxima. Podemos encerrar agora, pessoal.